If you're someone who's popular on social media, one of the things you might come across is people leveraging your life and the things you do without your authorization. So, what happens if you are a public figure, especially on social media, who has your life turned into a TV show or a movie or some other unauthorized representation of yourself? Let's talk to a lawyer and find out.
My name is Tony Iliakostas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School, and I have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called The IP Professor that's dedicated to all things intellectual property.
Tony, we've recently seen a very interesting occurrence on TikTok where a lady, Reesa Teesa, went on and made a great series, Who TF Did I Marry? And we definitely want to hear all these stories. We want to know what's going on, and people want to jump on this. She's had a lot of interviews, a lot of other things have gone on for her. Very, very good in her behalf. But there is a company that has made a movie out of her life, unauthorized, and is putting it out on TV. So, as people who are creating content, who are potentially getting a lot of views and a lot of conversation going, what do we do if somebody takes our life and creates an unauthorized movie?
Well, all I can tell you is you better run to a lawyer, not walk, because what has happened at that point is what sounds quite clearly as a violation of the copyright. I mean, Reesa Teesa spent you know days creating all these different videos, amassing 50 plus, maybe even more, different episodes about her married life and this very tumultuous lifestyle that she had with her husband. And this is all her information. She's she yes, there is that element of, this is a story, this probably happened to so many other people, blah blah blah, whatever. But the reality is that she created a work of authorship no different than if she were to write this in a book, or write this as a series of tweets. This is an original work of authorship fixed in a tangible medium of expression. What is the fixation? Literally her taking her phone, putting it on her car, a dashboard, or putting it on her, table, wherever. And she talks about the story of who TF did she marry. That is evidently copyright material. So if Tubi goes and takes her videos and sources material from it to make this what's probably going to be a really crappy movie anyway, because Tubi is known for that. It's in theory, what they have done is create a derivative work based on that copyrighted work, and she can go after them for copyright infringement, probably for each episode that has been infringed on. So, the good thing about copyright law is that yes, there is the cap, $150,000 per claim. That's a statutory damage, but that's not absolving her from going after Tubi $150,000 for every episode that they infringed on. So clearly she has that working in her favor. Obviously, there's the element of her having to get all of those videos registered in the Copyright Office. Once she does that, then she could obviously pursue this cause of action against Tubi. But the other glaring thing is that this is evidently, very, very clearly, a textbook example of an infringement of one's personality rights. Personality rights are a very tumultuous part of intellectual property law. It's the only area of intellectual property that is not regulated at the federal level. Each state has its own rules on personality rights. And sometimes there are states that don't even have it in the books on legislation. So what they do is they adopt the common law standard of what would qualify as an infringement of one's personality rights. And that involves the use of one's name, image, or likeness for commercial use. And it feels like Tubi is checking off all those boxes. They are using her likeness. They're using Reesa Teesa's likeness. They happen to pick an African-American woman who happened to be a little bit overweight. Narrative feels the same, and goes to show you that they were intentionally using her likeness, because the name of the movie is something to the effect of, the woman who didn't know who she married. I mean, come on, it's screaming in your face personality right infringement. So by using someone that looked like her, it's quite blatantly, an infringement of her likeness. And they could, she could definitely go after them for personality right infringement. And may I add that there is commercial intent, because to get Tubi, you have to pay a membership fee. Yes, you get access to all of their movies for free, but you are paying a membership fee nonetheless. So it's not really quite free. It's just that's the incentive of getting a membership. So all that to say, what's happening here is like almost like the textbook perfect hypothetical that every law school professor that teaches IP wants to include. Maybe that's what I'm going to write for my final exam this year. But all that to say, this is an insane story, but just feels like such a quagmire of IP violations, and it's dominated by the glaring copyright issue, and of course, without question, the personality right issue.
So if you are a creator and you are experiencing something like this, get yourself to a lawyer. Your lawyer is going to be able to help you out, and hopefully you can get a good payday out of this as well. If you have questions on things similar to this, go ahead and drop that down below. Tony is coming back to continue the conversation with us. And as always, you can reach out to Tony on his social media. Tony, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at the IP Professor, and you can check out my entertainment law podcast called End Scene, with new episodes dropping every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Drop a question down below. Tony's coming back for upcoming episodes. And as always, we have daily videos helping you navigate the world of your social media so that you can live your best entrepreneurial life without the stress and overwhelm of constantly having to spend time on your content creation. We'll see you in the upcoming episodes.